They told us it was going to be fine. We're meant to be pumping this week with all of the bullish news, but we're not. What the hell is going on? Why is Bitcoin breaking down yesterday, dropping over 3.5% back below to retest those 110 ranges? Everyone's banging on about a CME gap. Liquidations all over the place. We need to break it down. We need to make sure that we are dialed in what's about to happen over the course of the next 24 hours, 48 hours, and the rest of this week. I got you covered. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe button as we're going to get into this. Remember, I'm here every day working my socks off for your portfolio. So smash up the like button to a brand new all-time high. Hit that subscribe button. Let's get into it. So a pretty painful day, certainly a pretty painful few days actually, as Bitcoin continues its downward trend. In fact, the total global market cap down from those highs of around 4 trillion to 3.72 trillion. That's a whopping $28 billion or $280 billion, excuse me, wiped out of the entire cryptocurrency market in 3 days. I mean, that's not to talk about leverage trade that's heading on up towards $800 million over the course of the last couple of days. So what's going on? Why are we not going to the moon? Everyone says we should be pumping to oblivion. Tubit, you told us it was going to be fine. Well, the reality is that we are actually seeing short-term holders selling off their positions. In fact, when you take a look at the short-term holder supply, they're even selling for a loss. It's absolutely crazy right now. There is some real uncertainty in the market. Take a look at this. Fear and greed index now heading back towards fear, which is kind of wild. We just broke a new all-time high in Ethereum. We had some really good news in terms of altcoins. We are now seeing a little bit of rotation out of Bitcoin. I think there's a bit of smoke and mirrors going on. I'm going to show you what I mean in just a minute, but the markets are a little bit fearful. People are not sure what's going on. With all the bullish news we got from Jerome Powell, everyone was kind of like, oh, here we go. It's, alt season. Bitcoin's going to the freaking moon. The reality is that sentiment has cooled pretty quickly with lots of uncertainty. Now, the stock market, the NASDAQ, the S&P, they're holding up pretty well. It's all about risk on assets, particularly Bitcoin and the rest of the altcoin market. So like I said, this is going to be an important measure to keep our eyes peeled on. So let's break down what's going on. What are people telling us that's going on? Well, look, the reality is there is no significant events that are triggering this decrease. Multiple support levels have now been breached. Now, we did obviously have that 24,000 Bitcoins sold off by everyone who's telling us it was an OG whale. It wasn't. It was absolutely HTX, the exchange, Huobi Global. They dumped a whopping amount of money. And in fact, we saw a big event from things like Binance and OKX where they were moving USDC, Ethereum, Bitcoin between themselves. I personally am calling manipulation like you wouldn't believe. You caught my video yesterday, it broke it down a little bit more detail, but that's my exact opinion. Now, yes, we've lost some key supports, which ultimately just creates nervousness in the market. With days left until monthly closes, and bear in mind, September is generally not a good month for us, it is concerning that the daily candle collection is approaching those lower ranges. The 112,500, we broke that. The speed of sales at 108 support could be crucial. Now, there is a couple of things to reference here that I think is worthwhile, and I don't normally do crazy chart analysis, but again, I think it's just worthwhile touching on here. So you can see here we're at a key level right now at the time of recording this video, around 110,000, but we broke the 50-day exponential moving average. We broke the 100-day exponential moving average. And actually what you can see here now, this chart that I've got here is like an aggregated RSI. MACD is trending down. And likewise here at the bottom, that's also trending down. So we are very much in the short term bearish on Bitcoin. Now, you'll have heard everyone telling you that there is a CME gap at $93,000. Well, let's take a look at exactly what that looks like here on the chart. So you can see here, this is the CME gap that came in way back when in the April of 2025, and we've never closed this CME gap. Now, generally speaking, and history tells us this, that CME gaps do get filled. Now, people are calling this could even be the very much bearish price target. Now, just for, before everyone freaks out and goes and sells the Bitcoin, I am still very much bullish on the market. I'm very optimistic as to what the market's going to do, as I am with a member or another, few people of this space. But we could see 93K. Let's just brace ourselves for that. If you want to de-risk, which is what the market's doing, de-leverage, take some capital off the table, that's fine. Again, nothing ever moves in a straight line. And again, this could be just another fake out. We have to kind of ride it out and see. But CryptoCon giving us a very interesting view here that, well, simply put, the market's just dead boring. We get some upside momentum, we get some big dumps, everyone freaks out, then the market pushes higher. And that's kind of exactly what's going to happen again, in my opinion. He says it's boring, but it's good. All moves to low volatility have then been followed by a bullish sentiment without exception. There has never also been no moves high volatility in this entire cycle, not even close. So again, if If we see a 6% correction, well, that's just life, isn't it? That's just kind of what we do. So important to reference, but there are some, green shoots. I'll get them to in a minute. Let's just talk about this. These is liquidation events that are coming in for the market. And what you can see here, by the way, this is actually pretty bullish. You can see here that the market deliberately wiped out some of this lower range of liquidity, around $60 million. And now we are starting the slow grind back up. Yes, it's not going to be in a straight line, but we wiped this volatility out here. Now, let's look at the 3-day forecast. What does this look like? Again, you'll be able to see that we wiped out the lower range liquidity now with a top loading liquidity. You can see here, lots of people are shorting this market. And you know what they say? When the market thinks it's going to go one way, it generally comes back and wrecks you the other. So this is, again, important to think about where this market's going to go. And the other catalyst that we're seeing, and people are misguiding a lot of people, by the way, that's why you should be subscribed to this channel. But anyway, we see outflows specifically from ETFs in a pretty big deal. However, they will have you believe that it's all outflows of ETFs. The reality here is, it's simply put, it's not. And I can prove that to you. What we are seeing right now is significant flows into ETH, and more importantly, into those ETFs. Again, you see here, look, we're spiking in terms of volume back up, and those reserve treasury companies are buying ETH like crazy people as well. So, given all of that, the reality is the market's pretty volatile right now, but there's no real event to tell us why the market's going down. So these are people either just knee-jerk reacting, selling when they shouldn't be, or more importantly, well, people just taking a little bit of profit and de-risking based upon what could happen in the market. This absolutely is not the beginning of the bear market. And in my opinion, this is just another one of those moments where we have to chill out for a few days and then skyrocket back to new all-time highs. But I'm curious what you guys think, as always, in the comments. So let me know down there as we continue to delete the scammers and make sure we can actually have an active community. And don't forget, in the description, join my free Discord. It's totally free. We're building something epic, and I'm sure you would love to be a part of it. So until next time, though, thanks very much for watching. Hit the like and subscribe button as always, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.